welcome to a new video. So thank you so much for clicking on this video. I'm actually going to do a sit down video today, which I haven't done yet, but I basically wanted to go through like an introduction to HYROX. So this is kind of for anybody who's maybe interested in getting involved with HYROX but doesn't have a clue what it is, or somebody who is kind of aware of it, have seen people do it and wants to start heading towards HYROX as a goal. I think it's something that's become huge in the last like few years. Like, it's doing very, very well, and I for one absolutely love it. I think it's an amazing sport in terms of like accessibility, competition, but also just like community and enjoyment. It's such a fun race. I say race like this because it is only a race if you make it one. It is just for enjoyment as well. I think it's absolutely incredible when you go in there, like to a HYROX competition or a HYROX class, but if you go into the HYROX environment, there is so many different kinds of people. It's not just like a one size fits all at all. Like the barrier to entry is quite low. It's not that low, but because you need to be able to run like 8-10k, but it's low enough for like it to be accessible for all levels of fitness. And when you go, you just see such a variety of people. It's incredible to see. And they even have people who are disabled that can do it now. It's just absolutely incredible. So if you're clicking on this video because you're interested in HYROX, I hopefully can inspire you to do one, and also just give some information on what it actually is.
Go on, Abbie, well done. Come on, push through it.
So I'll firstly just talk through what HYROX actually is. So it's a combination of both running and like functional fitness stations. So it's made up of 8k, so it's 8 1k stations that then go into different stations. So you start off with a 1k run, and then we have 1,000 meters on the ski, and then we have another 1k run, and then we have 50 meters sled push, another 1k run, we have 50 meters sled pull, another 1k run, and then you've got 80 meter burpee broad jump, another 1k run, 1k on the rower, another 1k run. And then this is when I say it gets easier. So I always say, like, after the rower, it's easy, just because you know you're over halfway. So then after the rower, we have, where am I, farmer's carry, so it's 200 meters of farmer's carry, and then another 1k run, and then 100 meters of sandbag walking lunges, and another 1k run. That's your final run, and then into 100 wall balls. It did used to be 75 wall balls for the women, but recently they've just updated that to 100, which I do think is better, just because it matches the men. Like, there was no reason for us to have 25 less. So yeah, now that is 100. So there's different categories that come with HYROX. So you've got your solos, doubles, and there is also relay. I've never done a relay, but I'd absolutely love to. I think it'd be really fun. But yeah, so there's the different categories. If you're doing the paired one, you don't actually, like, there's no strict rules that you both have to touch a station. There should be, I think, in my opinion, but there isn't. So you do see some like mixed pairs that has a man and a woman both together, and you do see sometimes the men just do all the stations and the females just have to keep up running. That is a thing. But if you are in a pair, you can split everything however you'd like to split it. Apart from the runs, you have to do the runs in sync, and you do have to kind of stay with your partner the whole time. So if you're running, you can't be like miles ahead of your partner, because it'll pick up on your chip as you come into the rock zone. The rock zone is our section between coming in from the run and then finding the station. So the layouts for HYROX change at every single place. So the HYROX in Glasgow, which is this weekend, which I'm going to spectate in. I did have a ticket, but if you've been following along, you'll know I did actually fracture my medial tibialis at HYROX, which, please don't be scared, so let that put you off, because it was an accumulation of kickboxing and running that led to this, but it just happened to fracture during a HYROX race. So I've had to sell my Glasgow ticket, but it hasn't actually sold, so I'm just still going to watch all my friends and the people that I train with anyway. But so the layout for HYROX Glasgow will be different to the HYROX Manchester, and then the HYROX Chicago that we do in Worlds, which we go into in June, that layout will be different. So it's not always like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, laid out, but it is always got the track on the outside. So if I was someone who was just going to get into HYROX training to begin with, I would start off making sure you have running in your schedule, because if I could go back to when I first started training, I would definitely give myself a running start, because I actually have been into my strength training and stuff like that before I started running, which I do think is good as well, because it builds up your muscle in like both legs, and your core strength and stuff like that, and you obviously have a base level of fitness. But just starting getting a really good aerobic base with running, so just starting getting out on runs and making them into easy runs, and when I say easy runs, it's just making sure your heart rate's in zone 2 and you can hold that sort of pace and have it conversational. That'll boost your aerobic capacity like massively, and that'll give you a really good base for then going into HYROX, because I do think before you do a HYROX race you need to be able to run 10k, and I believe that you need to be able to hold like running in general for 90 minutes ish, because HYROX can take you between like an hour, sub-hour people are doing, but can take you between like an hour and 2 hours. So just making sure that you can actually physically work for that long. Like I do have some like hour and a half, 2 hour sessions that I have in my program every so often that obviously allow me to push myself for that long period of time. But yeah, if you're starting getting into HYROX training, my first thing, which obviously you don't even need a gym membership for, you just need a good pair of sturdy trainers. Trying not to train in carbon trainers as well, that's like a nice little tip. You don't want to do all of your training in carbon trainers. I know they look nice, but it will lead to injury. You're not meant to have that bounce. Your ankles need a lot more support than that. It's basically like when you're running, it's just a sped up version of your walking, so you're just adding impact and impact on all of your joints, and when you've got the carbon it kind of takes away that, because it allows you to just bounce and bounce, and you're going heel toe, but like bouncing from it with the shoe, so it obviously gives you like that extra, and we don't want that all of the time because it's not going to do your legs any favour. You need to build up the strength in your ankles and in your knees and in your hips and in your legs. You need to build up that strength with a sturdy shoe, so that's all you would need. But yeah, building up running and getting into a place where you can eventually, so I would either get a running coach, or I know there's apps like Runner these days, which is actually really, really good. I never used to like formulated programs like that don't have like a person sat behind one-to-one with someone, but I do think Runner seems to be really, really good. I've heard good things about it. I haven't used it myself, but I have heard really good things about it. So yeah, I would start getting you running and your journey to 10k. If you can already run 10k, then it's just making sure you've got a varying training program for running. So you're doing your base runs, your aerobic runs, you're doing threshold runs, and compromised running within that too. Because obviously like all HYROX is compromised running, and if you can get your running good, then you can recover on your runs and you can have a really solid pace. Because if you look at the people who are top in HYROX, and I'm not saying that if you do HYROX that you need to be aiming for the top, but if you do see those people, their running splits are very, very fast and they aren't as good on the stations usually, and some people can be really good on the stations but they're just not as quick, and it really does just mark down a little bit because your race is like 50-60% running. So yeah, building up your running is huge, and I would actually say that's what I personally have struggled with the most. Again, like if you've been following along, I haven't actually ran in 6 months because HYROX Birmingham is where my shin actually did just decide to fracture, and I carried on running loops round limping, which was so silly. Like even though that race got us to Worlds and we did podium with me limping around like a little silly girl, I wouldn't do that again. So yeah, building up running is so important, and yeah, looking after yourself, recovering well within running is super important. We don't want to get into any bad habits with running that can lead to niggles, because it's only going to then be enhanced when you bring in like a training like HYROX, because you've got sled push, you've got burpee broad jumps where there's impact on your legs, and you've got your legs are going to be tired, so to then run through fatigue, if you've not got a solid base in your legs, then you're going to find it a lot harder. So yeah, just get running. Another tip would be to obviously get to a gym that has the HYROX equipment. So all you really need would be kettlebells, which most gyms obviously have, but you've got like your ski, your row, the sleds. I found it really helpful to have the obviously HYROX sleds, because at the gym that I work at, we used to have different sleds and it just didn't prepare you as well as obviously having the real HYROX sleds would, because your technique changes, and technique is obviously huge when it comes down to if you're racing. You want to make it easier for yourself, so having the right kit is huge, and you don't need it to start, but I do think it just puts that better foot forward. And yeah, so you need your sleds, you need obviously wall balls with targets, you're gonna need, what else do you need? I think that's pretty much it. Ergs. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I'd also consider going to a HYROX class, whether you're on your own or you're with your partner that wants to do doubles with you or whatever. I would try and get down to a class. I know it can be intimidating, but I coach classes myself and I've been to other people's HYROX classes, and I just think the environment is massive. Like I said before about how inclusive HYROX is, the class community that you can build is just so fun and so exciting, and you're just alongside like-minded people, and like some people might help you with technique that if you were on your own maybe you wouldn't be as dialed in, or they might have a way of doing something. Like I know my way of doing burpee broad jumps just massively helps me and other people with like long legs, and there's just loads of different techniques that you can pick up off other people, and especially a coach as well. If you've got someone watching you hands on, you can ask them for their technique, or they should be on hand helping you just perfect and understand it a little bit better. But the buzz that you get off doing HYROX with other people is massive, so I really do recommend getting to a local HYROX gym. There's so many now. Obviously if you're around near me, Elite Fitness Factory with me or Alex, we coach the HYROX, and it's just so fun. And like, this weekend I'm going watching some of the people that we train with, and it's so nice to see the hard work that you've put them through pay off. Yeah, it's really exciting. So I would definitely try and get involved in a class. I know group training isn't for everyone because it can be quite nerve-wracking, but I do personally believe that it is life-changing, because you've got people pushing you to do things unbroken, like your wall balls. You might have wanted to put it down after 10, but the person next to you or your partner, if you're doing partnered work, is egging you on to get another and get another, and you just keep pushing each other. And I think it's a really nice atmosphere, and it's a good kind of, you've got a good presence around you that's going to help you grow and push you out of your comfort zone. And I personally just thrive off it. I never used to. I used to be a solo trainer, but it's made a massive difference to me. I've exceeded my own like limitations. I've just pushed myself out of what I thought I could do, and yeah, you'll find out that your potential is limitless. And I think also surrounding yourself with people who are quote unquote better than you, or like they've started earlier, which that's all that means. Surrounding yourself with those type of people I think is a really good thing to do, because that's gonna, if you see it in a positive light, like they've gone through things to get themselves there, you can go through things to get yourself there. Like there's no reason that they can be doing something and you can't. You just have to build up that discipline and the evidence that you can do it, and just put the work in. So yeah, start training, obviously, that would be a good start, but getting into a gym that's got the kit, having a little go at a few, there's HYROX workouts all over social media, and just getting a feel for technique on all of the different 8 stations. And yeah, then I would recommend either getting a coach that kind of works within it, so that you can dial your training in a little bit, because you will still need to do strength training work alongside your running and your HYROX, just to make sure I'm not getting any injuries. I do a lot of unilateral work on my legs, specifically because I've been doing a lot of rehab. But anyway, if I wasn't rehabbing my shin, I'd still be doing a lot of unilateral work, a lot of posterior strength and core work, alongside just making sure that you're doing full body strength to make sure that we're not going to get any injuries at any point, and you're keeping on top of stability through all. I would then just get a race booked. They do them all over the world. I really like to go abroad for my HYROX. I did one in Copenhagen last year, which was absolutely amazing, and just like making a trip out of it can kind of take the pressure off a little bit. And there's so many different reasons that you can get into HYROX. You can do it for enjoyment, that I would say literally like 70% of the people in there are doing it for enjoyment. I mean, everyone should enjoy it, but I mean, like, there's not that many that are actually going to be competitive, and it's only as competitive as you make it yourself, because there's so many different people starting at different times. And I just think it's absolutely incredible how it's laid out. that, yeah, takes the pressure off a little bit if you go abroad, because I just really like making a trip out of it. Like, why would you not? But yeah, I would definitely get one booked and try and give yourself like 3 months to prep for it. It obviously depends at where your starting point is, but I would give no less than 12 weeks to prep yourself for a HYROX, just so you're in the best position, really. And there's so many, like the season kind of goes on until summer. So Worlds are in June, which is in Chicago this year, which is crazy. Last year was Nice, this year is Chicago. And when I am back running, which should be in the next 2 weeks, obviously I'll be taking my running very slowly. I'll be doing little increments in terms of like intervals and speed work, as speed work won't be for 8 weeks maybe. I'll be doing a lot of just aerobic base, but as soon as I can get back to my full functional self, Worlds camp starts. But that's not just yet. I am currently still doing all of my HYROX work, just minus the running. But yeah, I've got that booked, so I'll definitely have over 12 weeks before in my prep. But it's just super exciting. So if I was you, I would get one booked. It just makes it feel a little bit more real, and try and do it maybe with a friend first, but you don't have to. I know loads of people who do it solo and they absolutely love it. And yeah, it can just be a really fun thing to look forward to. It also just makes it real and fun and gives you an end goal, because I find it's obviously science, isn't it? If you've got something booked, everybody is a little bit more motivated, disciplined, because you know you've got that time crunch, instead of just relying on your own self-motivation. It's like you've actually got an end goal. So yeah, get it booked and just go for it. Like, I think it can be quite intimidating. It doesn't need to be, but it can be quite intimidating, and I think a lot of us genuinely just lack self-worth and self-trust in knowing that you're capable of more than you think, and if someone else can do it, you can do it. Like, why not you? And I wouldn't let your fears or your self-doubt hold you back, because you can absolutely do it. Like my lock screen at the minute is you can do anything that you put your mind to, and I just think it's really lovely. So if it's something that maybe you think you don't fit in with it, which you do, everybody does. Like, that's one thing that I absolutely love about the sport. I think another thing that I love is the fact that your start times, it's like, even if you are going in with a little bit of a competitive mind, you don't actually know where you're up to. So like, I could be, so women doubles, let's say, has a time of between 10 AM and 2 PM. So you'll have people starting every 10 minutes from 10 AM till 2 PM. So you don't actually know. You can check the leaderboard and stuff, but when you're racing, yeah, there's going to be a group of girls that are also racing at the same time, but there's been a group of girls every 10 minutes. So you don't actually know who you're head to head with or anything like that. And I think that's really nice, because you can't compare. And there'll be different people. There might be mixed doubles that have started at the same time, or men's pro, or there'll be loads of different people on the course where we're like, someone might be on the 7th run and you're on your 1st, or you're on your 4th, and it's kind of just, it just feels less like intimidating, because there's so many, which kind of sounds opposite because there's obviously so many people there, but it's not all eyes on you, and it's not like head to head. And I think I only really experienced like a head to head in Copenhagen because it was a much smaller competition, and the girls that we were racing with just seemed to be head to head with us like pretty much the whole time. And the lads that we went out with were like shouting that they were like 10 seconds behind and all of this, and it was really fun. And I actually spoke to the girls after and was like, that was so good. So that was the only time where I've actually felt head to head. And when I fractured my shin, if I hadn't done that, we would have been in more of like a fixed let's go, go, go. But I was just, Caitlin was running ahead and she was turning around like, come on. And then you could see that I was limping, and it was not a nice sight. But nerves can be a big thing with HYROX as well. I know I'm just rambling here as well, but hopefully you're taking some little nuggets of, I was going to say wisdom, but this is definitely not wisdom. Just a little bit of a, I'm going to go and do it. Do you know what I mean? That's what I'm trying to give off. If you're contemplating it, just go and do it. I think the HYROX nerves are real as well. You've probably heard people talk about the nerves when you're at the start line and stuff like that, and people getting worked up over it. But at the end of the day, you pay to be there. It's not cheap, and yes, definitely not cheap, because I think to go to Worlds it's actually double. I thought if you got into Worlds it would be free. Idiot. I thought, because it's like £100 per person for a ticket to compete. Even if you're in doubles, you both pay £100. Solos is 100. When you go abroad, it's a little bit cheaper. It tends to work out with like 80. But then obviously you're paying for your holiday and stuff, which I do think is worthwhile. But HYROX Worlds, so we didn't actually think we got into Worlds initially, and then we got an email and we had. Because I'd been saying like we don't deserve it, because I literally could not do my best. Like we didn't PB or anything like that. But we obviously did get it, and I thought it was going to be free, and it was £200 each. We thought we were being, like, it was a scam, because we obviously hadn't thought that we'd actually got a place. And so we thought it was a scam, and we were both messaging each other like, oh my god, who would do this to us? Because we were just so gutted, because obviously I was in a state of like, I was not a nice person, because I've not been able to run in 6 months, and if you're someone who trains all the time, it's obviously really quite detrimental to like your mental health and your lifestyle in general. So I was already in the pits, and I was like, someone's scamming us, this can't be true. And then it was, and it was £200 each. So HYROX are making their dollar. Like, you can do the research on how much they're making each year. Whew. What they've created is huge, but there's a reason that it's huge, and I do believe that it's incredible. I'm so excited to get back to full health and full fitness and just go and enjoy Worlds. I think it's going to be so fun. And the Elite 15, so there's such an array of people that do it that like you don't really see that many that are the top people. But I was watching the videos of the Elite 15, and my boyfriend actually went and watched them because he was up in Glasgow anyway, and it just looked phenomenal. And you see so many different body types and so many different ages. Like, I know they had like a 75-year-old man do it. They had a disabled girl who she has one fully working arm, and she was doing it. I actually watched her. I think it was either Birmingham or Manchester. I think it might have been Manchester that I watched her. She was phenomenal. I think she's on TikTok and stuff. That was amazing. But I've just found that there's such a different amount of people that all look so different. It's crazy. Honestly, it's crazy. And I do think it's an amazing thing to get into. So my little note to you would just be to go and do it. Why not? Like, why not? You might try it and you might not like it. That's absolutely fine. I personally do really love it. Like, I cannot wait to get back. And I do want to start, when I'm obviously back doing my full training, I'll be doing week of workouts, especially in the lead up to Worlds. I think I'll do like a Worlds prep vlog each week and try and document what we're kind of doing, me and Caitlin as a pair. And obviously me getting back to my running is going to be a good little segment. So that is going to conclude this video. Hopefully it's inspired you, or just given you a little bit of an insight into what HYROX is if you weren't sure. And if you've got any questions about HYROX or training or the stations, because obviously I've not gone into depth into what kind of you do on each station in terms of form and technique, and just any tips like that. If you've got any questions, you can either pop them in the comments and I'll obviously reply, or you can message me on my Instagram or anything like that. I'm really excited for the HYROX content to start. I have been holding off, and I know I have, just because I've felt a little bit of like imposter syndrome in a sense, but in like the opposite way, because I've not been able to be doing the life or the training. Like, I've not been able to be the person that I usually am. Just with this injury, it's really like knocks me back a little bit. And so I felt like I can't post HYROX content because I'm not able to do all of it, but that's silly. So that'll be starting soon. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully I will see you in the next one.